This is my 2019 Ram Promaster van. It's been converted into a camper, and this year I'm gonna take this thing up and down the lower 48. I'm gonna try to ride every single one of the United States this year on my mountain bike. This is the 2500 model. It's got the 136-inch wheelbase, which means it's the shorter version, which means you can park it in normal parking spaces without worrying about it. And it's got the high roof, which means you can stand up on the inside. So let's get started with a little van tour from rear to front. I'm gonna have all the products in a link in the description, all the costs. I'm gonna have a whole spreadsheet for everyone to check out. Hopefully I will remember everything. Let's get started. Let's start with the coolest looking thing on the van. This is the Prime Design ladder. It just latches on to the door. Me and my dad tightened this thing down, got it on here to give us a little more roof access. I've got this box on the top here, which I'm gonna store some random extra stuff in, and I've got the shower up there, so this is gonna give us some access. I'm a little scared of random idiots climbing up on this thing when I'm sleeping in the van, but it is what it is. This is a big aluminum storage box that we got on Amazon just to store a bunch of random stuff. I've got a big tarp, I've got tire chains, I've got a hose, and plenty of room for other random things. This is the Road Shower 4. It's got a big old tank in here. It's pressurized. You can pressurize it with a bike pump. I've got an air compressor that I'll show you guys in a minute, but this is gonna be the perfect thing to wash down myself after a ride or wash off my bikes. Okay, I think I said the ladder was the coolest thing, but I really think the air compressor is the coolest thing on the van. The utility of being able to fill up car tires and bike tires, spray down stuff with air, it's so cool. It's a real piece of crap. Everything on top of the van is sitting on this really cool roof rack system that did not require any holes to be drilled in the van. It's super versatile. You can mount all kinds of things to it. You can cut it down. It's really one of the coolest materials to work with on a van build. So let's get going on the inside of this thing. I know I've already said that the coolest stuff was the ladder and the air compressor, but really the coolest thing in the whole van is this slide out tray toolbox bike stand thing. So my dad built this thing, and he built most of the stuff on the van. He is the MVP of this entire project. And here we go. This is the magic. So many people have the slider trays with the bikes on them, and I just don't get it. I don't understand. I know it looks cool, and it's kind of functional to be a little bit easier to pull the bikes in and pull the bikes out, but I think this thing trumps the bike sliders so much. First and foremost, this gives me really good access to all my tools. I've got all the stuff I really need right up front. My hex bits, my hex wrenches, I've even got this bike lube attached by Velcro. I still need to Velcro down these. I just got them for Christmas. Shout out to Blaine and Pat for the awesome gift. Thank you guys. This is my bike work stand. I needed something to be able to hold up my bike while I'm out at the trailhead or out camping, and I think we've got something really, really cool here. So the number one concern when you're in the van and you're going down the road is rattles, and we actually found a way to store this thing so it won't rattle. We can't store it with this in because when the door's shut, this would be too long and it would hit against the doors. This thing goes in first, this slides in, tighten her down. Now we've got a very sturdy bike stand. Okay, so if I'm gonna take the bike out and show you guys how the bike stands work, let's talk about how the bike is actually mounted inside the van. So if we're gonna talk about how we store the bike, then we gotta talk about the bed and the clearance. So this whole thing's like a chicken and the egg situation. So as you can see, there's actually not that much clearance here, and we actually jacked up the bed quite a bit to be able to fit this bike under here. Okay, first things first, I have these little Velcro straps to keep the wheel up against the bike. Get that out of the way. Then I've got the Rocky Mounts hot rod mount. There are many different types of mounts, but I feel like this was the best for clearance. So the bike stand works the best with the front wheel off, and in most situations, the front wheel will already be off, so it's actually kind of nice. My dad built this slider system. It's a big piece of plywood. It's got these expensive, heavy drawer slides on each side, and then some carpet squares tacked on the top to make it look very professional. And the bike stand is very versatile. If you need to pop the front wheel up in the air, you can do that. My job is to ride my mountain bike and make videos, so I need to make sure my bikes are up and running at all times, so I wanted to have a full-size toolbox inside the van to carry everything I needed to keep me going. I've got all kinds of mountain biking bits and pieces in here, all kinds of little spare parts, big spare parts, but the most important part here is my Kaizen foam from FastCap to keep all my tools from rattling around inside the van. I love the look and the feel of this foam, a place for everything and everything in its place. And then I've got my catch-all bin with my spray bottles, my sealant, and my air hose here. One little cool thing that my dad added in are these rails. So it gives you all these options to be able to mount a bunch of stuff. Right now I've got a few hooks, and basically I'm just gonna use these to hang up my gear. And I don't know how this is all gonna come together until I actually get on the road and I actually start using the van and throwing stuff in and taking stuff out. I've got a solar system in this van that is kept completely separate from the van battery, so they're not gonna drain each other or mess each other up. There's two 12-volt monocrystalline solar panels on the roof right now, and even in this cloudy day, it's pushing 36 volts to this charge controller. So my dad and I used a YouTube channel called DIY Solar with Will Prouse to do all of this. We will give you no tips on solar. I don't even know anything about amps and watts. It still confuses me, but it seems to work. We've got sunlight hitting the solar panels. The power comes through the panels to the charge controller. The charge controller figures out what to do with it. It sends the power to the batteries if the batteries need it. These are two 100 amp hour, 12 volt Battle-Born batteries wired in series, so it makes this a 24 volt system. These are the best batteries on the planet. I will fight you if you think otherwise. You can mount them upside down. It's basically made for marine applications, but us van lifers love them. I've also got this big ass inverter, which means I can plug in a normal plug with a power strip, plug in all my regular stuff, and drain these batteries dry. And now for the real meat and potatoes of this van build, the Wayfarer Vans Walter Camper Kit. Me and my dad were not up for doing this whole thing custom. Even the little bits and pieces that we've just shown took us a few months to complete. So actually building this from the van up was not an option. Most of the reason I got the Promaster was because the Wayfarer Vans crew in Colorado Springs outfits these every day of the week. They've got vans you can buy, or you can just bring your van and they will outfit it in a day. I've got a whole video showing that process, and link in the description once again. The kit came with insulation, the ceiling, the floor, the panels, the bed, the galley, so let's talk about all these little bits and pieces. The biggest arguments, and I told you so's in van life, are about insulation. This van uses merino wool insulation. Wayfarer has done hundreds of builds. They think it's the best. You probably don't. Leave a comment about why it's so bad. Many of the insulating panels in the Wayfarer kit are actually magnetic, and the bare metal is right there. They also have these sweet window panels that are magnetized. So this is the Wayfarer bed. I am 5 foot 10 inches tall, and I can sleep fully extended. I've not actually slept in the van yet, so I'll have to update you guys on that. We've got 72 inches, 6 foot exactly, wall to wall. This is actually just bedding I bought from Amazon. This is what the cushions look like underneath. The bed also declines. It goes up and it goes down. So you can sit in here, play on your computer, watch a movie, or recline when you're done. The kit also comes with 3 of these shelves. I only opted to do 1 of these shelves because I felt like I wasn't going to be able to keep stuff from moving around and flopping around. So my dad fabbed up this really cool extruded aluminum 80/20 shelf system. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna put in these shelves yet, but once I get rolling in the van, clothes, other random stuff, who knows? The Wayfarer guys also installed a Max Air fan, which was awesome. I didn't want to cut any holes in my van. These guys have been doing it so long, they know what they're doing. They actually had a perfect template to fit the weird crevices in the roof of the van. I've got the remote version, which is kind of a piece of crap because Oh wow, it actually worked that time. Usually the remote sucks and you really have to be right up against it to do line of sight to get it to work, but hey, it worked. This is the kitchen galley area, so it's got a sink. This initially came with a hand pump sink, and the first time I tried to wash my hands, I was like, nope, we gotta get rid of this. Just pop this thing off, and it's wired up to be electric. Turn it on, and we're good. This is the fresh water that gets pumped up, and then all the gray water that comes down through the sink gets in this thing. Plenty of storage in the kitchen galley. I have not even begun to fill any of this up, which gives me some hope that I won't be very cramped in this place. This is a little seat here. Some people put a composting toilet inside this thing. It just allows for plenty of storage. I'm not planning on being out in the cold very often, but hopefully when I am, this little bad boy is gonna help me get through the night. This thing runs off a medium-sized propane canister here, and I even have a propane leak detector in the van, just in case something happens, an alarm will go off. I've also got a carbon monoxide detector in here, which conveniently also has the temperature. It's a nice 58 degrees Fahrenheit inside right now. These lights were an option that came with the van. So I didn't order this van. I just found a van in this gray color that I really, really like in Oregon and went up and got it. So it had a couple options on it that I didn't really care for. These lights were one of those options, but it turns out these lights are really, really cool. They have like a 15-minute automatic timer on them. They'll turn off, and it's really good lighting in here for when I'm filming. I didn't think I was gonna get a fridge in the van, but then I thought to myself, what if I'm rolling down the highway and I get really thirsty? I can just swivel seat my way over, get myself a cold one, get right back on the road. And as you can see, oh my God, by me trying to pull that joke off, these swivel seats don't swivel very well. I got them from Swivels R Us. Maybe put them on too tight. I'm gonna have to double check because this is a huge pain in the ass. Hey! I've also got this fabric partition here for privacy, for security, keep a little heat in the cab. I've got some Velcro mounts here, and it was like the best quality Velcro, and it said it mounts to fabric, and apparently it does. And then this one came off, so dang it. Huh, now it's reattached, sweet. I'm not gonna talk about security in the van, but needless to say, if you see this, you know what I mean. I'm guarding it with snakes. My mom and dad were watching a van tour video and they saw this organizer thing on the back of someone's chair, so they got it for me as a gift, and I think it's pretty dang cool. Tons and tons of pockets. I've got a couple cool little fun things in the cab of the van here. This rear view mirror camera thing is a big time game changer. I have all my windows blacked out, but I can still see out the back. I can see who's behind me. It actually gives a pretty good field of view, so I can kind of see blind spots too. This thing works as a dash cam and a rear cam. It's always recording, so if you get in an accident and it's not your fault, you've got the footage to back you up. And we mounted this up before the van was all built up, so it was very easy to run all the wires to the back. If you have a normal car, it's kind of a headache to do all that, but it was easy for us. One of my favorite little fun things in the van is this altimeter. It's so cool. I was going over 10,000 feet when I brought the van out to Colorado, and you can see it as it happens. I also replaced the car stereo in the van. I'm gonna be doing so many miles driving this thing, I need a good stereo. The stock car stereo that came with this thing did not interact with my phone at all. It was such a piece of crap. You would try to play music, it would sometimes detect. You would try to play a podcast, it would sometimes detect. So I got rid of it and I got this Kenwood that has Apple CarPlay. Such a nice piece of kit. You can just plug your phone in and it works really well. Even though this is an Apple product, you can still use your Google stuff. I love Google Maps and I love Google Play Music, and it's all here and it all works seamlessly. All right, van build version 1.0. I don't know if any of this is actually gonna work. I need to get out on the road and test it. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the trail.